And welcome back to JKLIVE live here at Citizen Television on a very emotional night, folks. This story I just can't get over it. A mother at pains with the fact that her son could be executed in 2 months' time. He's been in jail in Saudi Arabia for more than 13 years. He was convicted and sentenced to death. And I'm telling you, he's the firstborn in a family of 9, and a mother's pain you cannot explain. So Dorothy Kwayo says, you know what, maybe we can help him. Because the family over in Saudi Arabia says, if you can raise $1 million, about 150 million Kenya shillings, we will set your son free. We've got 2 months. Maybe we have an hour. Can we raise 150 million shillings? Listen to the story first, and you make the call. Dorothy Kwayo is in the house, her son Cyprian Amakalu, and veteran journalist Ken Bosire also in the house to explain the whole story. Once we do that, you determine whether we can raise this money. Because, let's face it, we have 5 million people watching us on any given JKL. If you guys just contribute 30 shillings, not 100, 30 bob, times 5 million. I wasn't very good at math in school, but I can do this math. That's 150 million. 30 bob. Think about that for a moment. Dorothy, Cyprian, Ken, welcome to JKLIVE.
Thank you.
Dorothy, you must be, I don't know, I cannot even want to explain how you feel about your son, right, who's been in jail for 13 years.
Yes.
Since
2011.
2011.
April 10. Yeah.
What happened?
Stephen knows what happened, and so I can only narrate it as he has narrated to me. And I didn't get to know about the tragedy until 3 days later, 3 days after the tragedy, and 2 days after his arrest. And it couldn't have happened at our moment. It couldn't have happened at our moment because at that particular time, we were in mourning. My third born, who is married in Gatundu, had lost her youngest and dearest sister-in-law. So we were in mourning for Shiro. And on this Tuesday morning, around 8, as all our thoughts are on preparations for the impending burial of Shiro, I get a phone call. We just had breakfast. And it's my first cousin, whose husband previously worked in Saudi, calling me and saying, Mfiala is cousin in Keluya. The news is that Steve fought with his workmate and he's dead. Jeff, I didn't wait to hear the rest. I got the call and broke down. I think I was rolling on the ground. I mean, it was like the proverbial hakuna msiba usiokuwa na mwenzake. Yeah, because here you are grieving and there's something that has no description.
Even worse.
Yes. And so the children join me. We are all wailing. And 3 hours later, one of them comes and says, Mommy, are you sure it's Steve-O who died? And I listen. We are being told that actually it is his colleague who died.
So you thought it was Steve who had died?
Yes.
Initially?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
For 3 hours,
Yeah.
I knew my firstborn was gone. But the news that I received was not comforting at all. Yeah, it is what you call cold comfort, because I knew worse lay ahead, because the spectre that then I have lived with was the spectre of receiving my firstborn's beheaded body. It has been like that until last November, when the possibility of rescuing him came about. That is when the diaspora office called me, and the way they relayed it was heart-crushing. It was heart-wrenching, because there were those floods in the Middle East. I'm sure you saw them in that month, and he hadn't called in a while, and I was trying to reach out to friends. They were not responding. Eventually, one responded, and instead of telling me what is going on, because I was saying, what has happened to Steve? He hasn't called. He unleashed photos of cars floating in water. And it was like, how could Steve-O be even caught in a car in a flood? Because he's confined. I said, what do you mean? What happened? What, because there was suspense. So he says, in short, Mama, the phones are not going out because of those floods. So it wasn't what I thought.
Okay, hold that thought, Dorothy, for a moment. Ken, you're a veteran journalist. We've worked together, for the last 30 years together, right? Yes. What was the original story? Because people want to know, how did he get convicted of murdering his colleague? Tell us the story.
Jeff, first of all, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And thank very many Kenyans who have responded. But as a journalist, when you get this story, we have written so many headlines about Kenyans. It's so far from you. It's another headline. It's another story that you run, either as a brief.
Yeah.
But the original thing that came, when it arrived, and I linked it to Mom, it settled home so hard. I couldn't even call her, because how do you begin to process this thing? But what was originally said was that after the incident, it was an altercation between two friends, and the two friends fought. Each one of them suffered injuries. But the original story was that the deceased hit out first. It was an office where they had differences. They fought, but one of them later on, not immediately, succumbed to his injuries. The interesting thing that we have learned later is that Steve-O himself was almost succumbing to his injuries because of the heat, the bleeding. He had suffered that bleeding. He didn't know that his friend had died. They just fought, and everybody went their separate ways. But the other guy was taken to hospital, and that's where he succumbed. In the meantime, Steve went back to his house, where when the police came for him, they found him on the verge of passing out because he was also bleeding. So, but fast forward, there was a conviction that was passed in a normal court that handed him a sentence. Because he had served some time, it was possible for him to get out on parole because it was treated as manslaughter. It wasn't thing. But then the family appealed, of the deceased appealed, and the Sharia law kicked in. And that's what got him to where he is now. But for that time, the case remained in limbo because according to tradition, to the Islamic law, the youngest son had to hit 18 years, an adult life, before he could be involved in the decision making. And that's why Steve remained in limbo for all this time. He's waiting, not knowing what his fate will be. And until last November, like Mama says, then the just flicker of hope came through, that it's possible that there is a moment that you can pay what we call blood money. But the figure was humongous, 400 million shillings. You know, for an average family, that was just like saying, we can as well behead him.
Correct. And that's the death, that's what they do when they execute on?
Yes.
They behead them.
There's a countdown. Up to this point, they give you a timeline. If you don't meet it, the other one kicks in. And that's what happened. But out of negotiations and other people, and goodwill from friends and the embassy in Riyadh, there was a negotiation that brought it down to 150
million Kenyan shillings.
150.
That's about $1 million.
Yes, $1 million. And since then, that's when now Mama had the courage to break her story. I remember when she called me, she sent me a message to tell me, there is hope that your brother can come back. It was at 4 a.m. And the message says, son, for 13 years I've waited for this chance to know that my son could come home. And I am telling you this, what do we do? As it was not just another story.
No.
It is too close to our hearts.
Cyprian, how old? Oh, you're number 5.
I'm number 5.
Steve-O's number 1.
Yes.
Growing up,
Yeah.
what was it like growing up with your bigger brother?
I must say, I think every kind of adventure we had, I remember we used to go, fishing with him. So he would carry us and would come back with fish. That's what we'd have. And then any manner of, the bullying kind of game that you'd have with your brother.
Oh, big brother, yes.
Yeah, that's what we'd have. So I think for me, just having that big brother, it's something that, I cherished so much. And even when he went to Saudi, we could still communicate and keep in touch. So for me...
And he first went in 1996.
1996.
That's when he got a job, and he emigrated.
Yes. So in 1996, and you can imagine you're the firstborn, family of 9, so much expectation from you. I can say the first color TV we had in our house was through him working in Saudi.
Steve-O bought it?
Yes. The first music system was...
First Steve-O?
Yes. So I think it certainly was a blessing, and knowing him and knowing the kind of person he is, very calm, very loving. So I think for me, I was taken aback, and I was just,
When you heard this news, 13 years, when he was arrested, what went through your mind?
As Mom said, I'm the one who made that call, and I wanted to find out what has really happened, So when the boss called, and the boss answered and was like, no, Steve-O is alive and Steve-O is okay, but this is what has happened. I think first, the relief of just knowing my brother is still alive, but then he's in a foreign land and you don't know where to even begin. And I think we've spent a lot of time with Mom just going to foreign affairs, trying to get assistance. At some point, we even booked flight tickets, hoping that we'd be able to go.
Did you ever go? Dorothy, were you able to ever go to Saudi Arabia?
Up to this moment, I haven't gone.
So you haven't seen this
I haven't seen him. I've heard him, thank God.
And why wouldn't they allow you to go to Saudi?
He said the widow is not ready to see you because my visit was always twofold. I wanted to see the widow.
Oh.
Nadia, Abdul Rab, Hamoud.
You wanted to see her?
And tell her what has happened is completely inimical of my son. The Steve-O, I know, wouldn't have done that, but it has happened. Please forgive him, please forgive me.
And the Saudis said that she wasn't ready to meet you?
Yes.
Or,
They said she wasn't ready because they tried very hard to broker that opportunity.
Sure.
Because in my mind, as a mother, I thought that if something similar happened and the person that had injured me came to me, I would embrace them. I would embrace them because it happens. As a parent, I've had incidents where, or an incident, for instance, where a child had, while playing in the field with friends, injured another, and he was suspended, and I ran to the school, and the head teacher linked me to the other mother. And when I arrived, she was embracing me. And that is exactly what I would have done with my daughter.
But you never got to see him?
I never got to see him. I never got to see the widow.
Because the Saudi embassy refused?
I don't think they refused. They reached out to her, but she said she was not ready.
To meet you?
Yeah. And on their part, they never gave me.
Okay, so how did this negotiation happen from 400 million shillings to 150 Ken? I mean, was it still with the widow? Was it with the family? How did that happen?
A lot of intervention in between. We must say that the ambassadors who are in Saudi took it up as their own, a very, very positive thing. They said, we will work with the widow and other relatives. So finally, she said, if that be the case, and there are many people, especially Ibrahim, who's He
was an acting ambassador.
Ambassador. He took it upon himself and even started the initial fundraising in Saudi to try, because this was really important to him, because he knew the facts of the case, that this was not murder. What had happened was two friends fighting, one goes down, but when they gave that window of opportunity for blood money, he knew the background at home. He said, let's try. It has happened. Let's get something that is reasonable for us to do. So finally, they climbed down a little. Yeah, for them on that side. And for your information, Jeff, the deceased, they are not Saudi nationals.
Oh.
They are also migrant workers.
Oh. Where are they from?
From
Yemen.
Yemen.
Oh, the Yemenis?
The Yemenis.
Is that right?
Yeah. So the two guys were very close friends.
The Yemenis and Steve-O?
And Steve-O. They worked in the same office.
So what happened? I mean, what was the fight about? Do we know? Does anybody know?
Steve-O will come and tell us what happened.
Nobody knows?
Steve-O will tell us what happened, because my personal take is that when we are talking that story, it is between Steve-O and Abdul Halim Mujahid Saleh, the late. And he's not here to respond.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I've always found it pretentious to say that this is what happened. So what we know is that they fought. Yeah. And that was extremely unusual of Steve-O. He told me, Mom, this was my first and last fight in life.
Cyprian, when's the last time you saw Steve-O?
Oh, I can't even remember, because I think between 1996 when he went, probably came back early 2000s. So that's probably the last time that I saw him. And I think for me, I always remember every other trip that he made, because he would, come back with goodies and all that. So that's the last time I saw him. But one thing that has also happened, or when you think about it and how long it's been, when he left, I think I was still 96, I was still in school. I'm married, and most of my siblings are also married, but none of our in-laws have actually seen Steve-O.
They've never?
None of our kids have actually seen him.
They don't know him?
That's how long it is.
Was Steve-O married?
Yes.
He's married?
Yes.
Is his wife here?
So Steve-O has two sons and a daughter. And
in Kenya?
In Kenya. And mom has basically raised
them.
Basically raised them. And
Do they ask about their father? Dorothy, do they ask?
The youngest son especially was truly traumatized because when it happened, he was too young to know what was real happening. And he missed his dad because he had come, but he was quite young. And when he left and came and left again, he said, next time Dad comes, I'll cling to his jacket. We'll go together to the plane. Yeah. And now...
Yeah. That was 13 years ago, or more.
Now Evans, in November, he will be 24.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
That's 2000.
Yes,
Yeah,
he was
that's
born in
24 years.
2000. Yeah.
That's 2000.
Yes.
So, but he saw the boy. I mean, he came, so he knew the boy. Yeah, but he was very young when he didn't come back again. Yeah, but I think he has suffered the most because his other brother, it was a different story. Yeah, it was kind of adventure, young boy's adventure, you know. But being the Luya woman that I am, I knew that that was my responsibility.
Yes.
Even if he's too young to get married,
Yeah.
the child is ours. And I did what is traditionally required to take my grandson. And so I raised Ian. Yeah? He's called Arap Gogo. That is son of grandma. Yes. Yeah? So even on my phone, I've saved him as Arap Gogo. Yeah. Yeah, so...
Arab?
Go. Yes.
Yes.
So the children have literally grown apart from their dad.
Father.
But I'm like Baba na Mama. I remember one day my late husband wanting to just see how to develop this boy, you know, the eldest boy,
Yeah.
asking him, can you give me in 700 words a story saying, who am I? It took him very long, but my husband was very persistent. Being a university lecturer, he kept saying, I'm waiting for my story. When he eventually wrote, it was a beautiful but heartbreaking story, you know, saying how I am Mama na Baba to him, yeah? Meaning he has that concept of father and mother. A father he hasn't seen, a father he hasn't interacted with, and a father now in a situation which is between life and death. Because from the moment that thing happened, Jeff, it has been an emotional roller coaster.
Tell me something, Dorothy, real quick. Are you able to talk to him at all?
Thank God, yes. Where he is now, they have a booth. He can call, but I can't call him.
Right.
So as long as he has airtime,
Yeah.
and it's partially facilitated by the government or the king of Saudi Arabia.
By the king?
Yes, yeah. Every inmate is given some airtime. So they can call.
How often does he call?
When he has airtime, especially donated by friends.
Okay, when's the last time he called?
He called yesterday.
Oh.
Yes.
What did you talk about?
We talk a lot of things, and this time he was telling me that some human rights people had gone there to get his details, yeah? And they have been there before, you know, and some of the people that they talked to have since left. But he says that the reason why he hasn't left yet is that his amount is just too huge.
How is his spirit? How is his
Thank
mindset?
God he's always upbeat. I think his positive spirit has kept me going, because if he were to accidentally call now and you heard him, you'd say, look, madam, stop those jokes. That's not an inmate. Because he'll talk, he'll laugh, he'll crack jokes because he loved jokes, and it seems they have not left him.
Ken Bosire, real quick. Look, in June, I think it was around May, June, when we saw this story. It was like page 3. It was in May, page 3 or 4 of the Standard. And it was like, Kenyan to be executed next week or in 2 weeks, whatever it was, right? Remember?
Yeah.
And now there's the stay of execution. So, there's a period now. Is there hope for this right now? Is there hope?
I think, taking the Kenyan spirit, when the story came out, we had a lot of goodwill. We even organized an Arambe. But behind this, from February, 7 of us have been carrying and staying with Mama. First of all, 2 brothers. One is Joe Dindo, brother to Mama, Joe Dindo, Wangedi Mwangi. Then we have 3 sons, Cyprian, Henry Maina, and myself. Then 2 sisters, Pamela Sitoni and Dr. Wanjiku Motia. Since then, we've been meeting twice every week for 2 hours, thinking through this whole process. But it has not been in vain, because that kind of meeting is the one that resulted in the intervention that gave him that
stay of execution.
Yes. And the ambassador, Kenyan ambassador in Riyadh has also been, we've kept that contact. And every night on Monday and Thursday, we meet for 2 to 3 hours, thinking through the whole process.
Every week, twice a week, 2 hours?
Yes. 2 to 3 hours every week. That is spare time, documented, blocked from any other activity.
Okay, which brings me to the obvious question. How much money has been raised so far out of this 150 million?
Close to 15 million shillings.
15?
15.
10% of the amount?
10% of the amount. And this is inclusive of around 59 Saudi riyals that was initially raised when it happened. And then the others, the amount has just been Kenyan's goodwill. Yeah.
And Jeff, look at it, that is a lot of money. In the sense that,
sure.
In the sense that if this was a natural case, if this was a genuine, maybe not genuine, if this was a proper Quranic sentence, Stephen should be back now, because the Quran requires 100 camels, and by my calculation, we only needed 11 million to give the Yemenis.
Okay, so why do you think they multiplied it by
10?
Yes.
Yes, by 10.
Why?
I think one was the belief that the strong government intervention suggested that the government will pay this money. That is the belief.
Our government or their government?
Our government, yeah. They believed that because the government, the ambassadors and, the intervention has been so strong that they were sure it's not a family affair. This is a government affair. And unfortunately, it's not. The government was quite clear when we approached them that they can only offer diplomatic intervention, and we thank God for that, because it helped in staying the execution, because he should be about 4 months dead by now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so 150 million, I was saying that I was doing the math here earlier on, and we have 5 million viewers. We have 5 million viewers. Yeah. We are proud to say we have 5 million viewers.
Great.
If you divide 150 million by 5 million, that's 30 shillings.
Yeah, 30 bob.
That's 30 bob. Yeah. If every one of our viewers put in 30 shillings, this man will be out tomorrow, next week, or whatever.
Yeah, all they need was to process the documents, because his passport has since expired.
Yeah.
But then he would be back.
You'll get the documents because Kenya Embassy is helping very well, right?
Yes.
Okay. Pay bill number. I am starting. What's the pay bill? Is that it?
8.
Cyprian, read it to me.
Yep. 8.
Business number.
Yeah, pay bill. 805
805
66
66
75.
75.
And then the account is your name.
Jeff Coinage.
Yeah, coinage, yeah. For more days.
All right, I'm not going to put 30 shillings because, I'm...
Yeah, Jeff.
Your name is Coin.
There you go. Nice. Touché. Okay, so that goes direct to the pay bill, right?
Yes.
Goes direct to the pay bill.
Don't look at my PIN number.
No.
Okay. Okay, so
Yeah.
if people, it says, let's bring back Steve. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's bring back Steve-O is the account once you do pay bill and you send it. Boom.
Yeah.
Is there another account number or is that's
There's
send money or?
Yeah,
send
there's a
money
send
for-
money for those who don't know how to use the pay bill.
Okay.
And that is 0702
0702
878
878
717.
717. 717,
Yes.
yeah? 717.
And account is Dorothy Musopole.
That's the name that we
Yeah.
give you.
So those are people who don't know how to use M-Pesa.
Yeah.
Mashinani, yuko ndani mashinani.
Yes.
Say it again. 0702
878717.
878717. That's easy. 878717.
Yes.
It's not rocket science here, huh?
Yeah.
No.
What do you miss most about your brother?
Yeah, I think I would say everything because one thing he's done religiously ever since, even now that he's still inside, he remembers all our birthdays and he will call. Or your
All 9
anniversary.
of you
All 9
and your
of us.
mother.
Yes. And he will call and he will speak to everyone because, again, we've grown up 9 and anytime we are together, it looks like there's a party going on. But it's just that we are many, and so what we miss is just his physical presence. But then any opportunity he has, if there's a birthday, he will be sure to call and he'll speak to everyone.
Yeah.
And just, I think that has, given us hope that you can wake up and you can speak to him.
Yeah.
That really helps.
Ken Brasiro, let me ask you this. As the journalistic community, have we done enough to highlight this story? Or is it, was it just like you were saying earlier on, it was, like probably 3-4, sentences in the beginning, right? Another Kenyan in Saudi, blah, 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 blah. Have we done enough to highlight this story?
Yes, and I really want to take this opportunity to thank the media fraternity. They've gone out of the way. She's been on several radio stations. And within the Kenya Editors Guild, where you are, we raised money.
Yeah.
So everybody it's family. The media family has been Mama's greatest support. And out of that media family, even when we did an initial Rambe, especially in June, when the countdown, every second counted, we were able to come. It was the media family that came together, and we were able to raise, that was about $1 million, Bob.
Right.
And they gave, the industry is in very difficult circumstances, but everybody has had a chance to grab the story. We thank everybody from the radio stations, the TVs that have come through. Today we are here, but it has been phenomenal support. And if they haven't, anybody who hasn't gotten any information from the media, is because it has probably slipped by them. And I'll tell you, Jeff, something that has happened. Most of us, 30 years, we are analoguers.
Correct.
The shock
We are
that we
old
have...
school.
Old school.
Yes.
Today, through that time of walking, today we are all TikTokers, including Mama. We've gone digital.
Mama's a TikToker.
Yes, it's a TikToker, because we have to communicate.
Have to.
We have to get in the space.
Yeah.
Today, You can find my TikTok account. You can find Mama's TikTok account. That is the journey that has been. And these have been thanks to the media fraternity, the warmth. And that has kept us the 2 days of a week is because we meet knowing the pain the mother feels, the pain that we feel. And the firstborn, my mother normally tells me that, and I was telling her earlier that my mother tells me that I'm the firstborn. I made her a woman. I gave her status. So you can imagine her losing that status because of a tragedy far away in another land. That has been something for me. I can identify that what today if I were to drop dead, what it means for my mother.
And Mama, for you, and I'm sure you wake up in the middle of the night and you think, they might cut off my son's head one of these days.
That has been my living nightmare.
Yeah.
That has been my living nightmare. The specter of being called to go and pick up the beheaded son of mine. And that is actually a mother's story. And that is why I must also mention the alumni of the 3 schools that I went to, and starting with the latest, which is Alliance Girls, from which Dr. Wanjiku Motia comes from. She mobilized the community, and they were the first organized alumni group of mine to raise well over 500,000 Kenya shillings. Over, in fact, inching closer to 1 million, followed by Mumias Girls, primary, yeah, it tells you the pain of a mother, and and then Mukumu, my secondary school, But I must also add the children's alumni groups, both boys and girls, have really been in this, and that is something that is just awesome. So,
you still have hope?
There is hope.
You're clinging on to hope.
If I lost hope, I should long be dead, Yeah. I've been praying, living in hope. I have refused to give up until they either bring me, Steve-O, or Lord forbid, they do just what I'm telling, But with your appeal, I'm sure we should get something.
Let's get that number again. Let's get that number again. What's that M-Pesa number? Go on. What's the graphic? Monica, where's the graphic? Pay bill number is 805-6675. Again, 805-6675. Account number is your name. Put in whatever amount. And like I said, I broke it down, folks. If we have 5 million viewers on Citizen TV, that's 30 shillings each.
Yeah.
Anything else is bonus. Or you can, this thing called Send Money. 0702-878717. Again, 0702-878717. It's Dorothy Musopole. Or Musopole.
I was just going to say this. Huh?
Yes, go on. We're going to take a break, come back. All your thought. Going to take a break, come back, and talk some more, man. I mean, goodness. It must have been a harrowing 13 years.
Jeff, you can say that again.
Harrowing 13 years. I mean, it must be mind-boggling. And, for you, the kids...
in the middle of the night with a sweat.
With a sweat.
Yeah.
Oh, Jay.
The helplessness.
Helplessness, that's what it is. It's helplessness. Let's take a break. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff. What are your thoughts? We'll get your comments as well on the magic wall in a little short while. At Koinange Jeff. At Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag is JKLIVE. JKLIVE takes a break. We'll be back. This is a mother's story. All you mothers out there, you can relate to what Dorothy's talking about. It's the mother's worst nightmare. But the nightmare could turn into a good dream. It's up to you. Back in a moment.